What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, J Miller if you like. So let's get into it. Uh, I'm here with the tryptophan in my system, fresh off the turkey, fresh off the mac and cheese, and also, thankfully, fresh off a Cowboys win. The Cowboys beat the Giants 27-20. And honestly, the 27-20 is very misleading. The Cowboys are up 27-10 at one point in this game. You can tell they kind of let their foot off the pedal a little bit. Good game by several guys. And you know, they kind of just later on in the game took their foot off the pedal and just kind of tried to basically hold on because they knew they could outlast the Giants. I feel like if they wanted to put more points on the board, they certainly could have. Strong game from several Cowboys. So let's start with our star ups, right? So let's go with we got a lot of star ups in this game, by the way. You know, we could get quite a few players to give them a star up, but let's start with Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle had the most rushing yards of his NFL career in a game, 22 carries, 110 yards, plus a touchdown, averaged over 5 yards a carry. Some of the things we were breaking down before the game as far as him being able to get to the edge and exploit the Giants, him being able to get up the middle and exploit the Giants, and some of the blocking schemes that the Cowboys could run out of certain formations, that came to fruition completely. It was exactly what we thought would happen, you know, exactly what I was showing you guys, exactly what I was talking to you guys about. That's exactly what happened. Rico Dowdle, he was pretty much dominant. Best game of his career until this point. Cowboys have now won their first home game, and now they've actually won 2 straight games. And so we'll see how that goes moving forward. But it's nice to see the Cowboys get a win on Thanksgiving. Like I said, especially, you know, getting a good meal in my belly, sitting back, enjoying the game, and it was pretty awesome. Also, star up to DeMarvion Overshown. He had the first touchdown on the game for the Cowboys. The score was 7-6 at the time. DeMarvion Overshown comes on a blitz, and it looked like it was supposed to be a screen pass to the outside to the offense's left. Offenses being the Giants, defense is right. Cowboys are on defense, and Drew Lock tried to get the ball out pretty quickly. Overshown tips the ball up to himself and then makes an interception and then runs it in for a touchdown. Athletic play, awesome play, just kind of showing you the potential of DeMarvion Overshown and what he might be able to possibly do in a Cowboys uniform. This is essentially his first year, and to see him make all those plays on the field, because the interception return for the touchdown, that wasn't the only play. Overshown was all over the field, making plenty of tackles, plenty of run stuffs. He was also out there in coverage. He had a really great game today. I'm excited to look at the film afterwards just to see if it was as awesome as I thought it was. But star up to DeMarvion Overshown. And then a third star up in this game to the defensive line. Let's give it to Osa Odighizuwa. Let's give it to Micah Parsons. Both of those guys played a hell of a game. Micah Parsons ends up with like a sack and a half. Odighizuwa also ends up with a sack. I mean, they were all over the field. They were putting pressure. I believe the Cowboys actually sacked Drew Lock 6 times, if I'm correct. So that was huge for the Dallas Cowboys to just constantly get pressure on. Yeah, they sacked Drew Lock 6 times for a total of 47 yards lost, which was awesome for the Cowboys in this game. So if you take a look just inside of the raw numbers, Cowboys had more first downs than the Giants, 21-17. More passing first downs, 10-8. Same amount of rushing first downs, 7-7, pretty even. But also more first downs from penalty. They were about 45%, maybe a little better, maybe 48% on first down. Third down, 7-15. Fourth down, they only went for it one time and didn't get it. They outran, the Giants in plays, 68-59. They outgained them in total yards. Same amount of total drives. They outgained them in yards per play. They have more passing yards. Same amount of completions, but more rushing yards than the Giants. More rushing attempts than the Giants. They made it to the red zone, less efficiency, but they made it to the red zone more often than the Giants. They were less penalized. They didn't have any turnovers. The Giants actually turned over a couple of times, and they dominated the time of possession. Not a total domination, but 31-28, pretty good there in favor of the Cowboys. So when you go inside the raw numbers, the Cowboys did exactly what they had to do in this game. Defensively, it was a really nice game plan. Tyrone Tracy was one of the players I was most worried about going into the game. I was really worried about how he would play against the Cowboys, if he would be able to exploit the poor run defense. And honestly, Tyrone Tracy did exploit the Dallas Cowboys' poor run defense a couple of times, but not to the point where the Cowboys were just totally destroyed by him. He had 32 yards on 9 carries, so 3.6 yards per carry. His longest run was 7 yards. So the Cowboys did a pretty good job of bottling it up. The lead rusher for the Giants was actually Drew Lock. He had 28-yard rush, and he had another pretty much 20-plus yard rush. So it was a couple of times where he broke contain and went, but for the most part, the guys who were supposed to run the ball for the Giants were not able to run the ball for the Giants. Now, let's say we have to give a couple of star downs on this day. Star down to some of the tackling on the quarterback. There were a couple of times where the Cowboys got up the field and were not having the greatest lane integrity when it came to rushing the quarterback, and that's what allowed Drew Lock to kind of slip out and get some extra yards on a play. We've seen it a lot with more mobile quarterbacks for the Cowboys this season, whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's Jaden Daniels, whether it's now Drew Lock, whether it was Justin Fields. The Cowboys have had, even Deshaun Watson in the first game of the season, Cowboys have had some trouble with some of these mobile quarterbacks and kind of keeping them contained and keeping their rush integrity. But I do think that also had a lot to do with the Dallas Cowboys not necessarily knowing who the quarterback was going to be going into this game all week. They were probably preparing for Tommy DeVito, and then on the last second, a couple days ago, the Giants say, hey, Drew Lock's going to start. Tommy DeVito's not even making the trip. Then all of a sudden, Tommy DeVito's making the trip. He's the backup quarterback. So this is just a lot of mumbo-jumbo going on with the New York Giants. Maybe it was kind of like their last-ditch effort to try to screw with the Cowboys a little bit. And they knew they weren't as talented as the Dallas Cowboys. So they kind of tried to play a little bit of mind games and see if they could get the Cowboys off their game like that. But when it came to on the field, I'm really proud of the way the Dallas Cowboys played. It kind of sucks to see Tyler Guyton go out with injury in this game because the Cowboys have had injuries all season, and it would have been, I'm not saying injury's okay, it's never okay, but it might have been a little bit more palatable had Awesome Richards been available. But being that Awesome Richards was not available, if I had to give some star downs, I would also give it to Chuma Edoga. Chuma Edoga came in, he got a penalty right away, and I felt like he didn't hold up that well in pass protection as well as run blocking. I do have to see the tape tomorrow to kind of know that for sure. If the tape comes out tomorrow, this is the Thursday game. We might not get the game tape on NFL Plus till Monday, so it could be a couple of days. But I can always go back and rewatch it from the TV copy and kind of see what happened there. But not Awesome Richards, Chuma Edoga, he did not look all that good. And it could just be, hey man, he was out for several weeks. And honestly, this was his first action of the season since pretty much training camp, in the preseason. So I can't blame the guy for being a little rusty, but I still have to give him my star down because I didn't see him necessarily playing that well. The Cowboys actually went with Brock Hoffman. I thought they would go with TJ Bass at the right guard, but they went with Brock Hoffman at the right guard. He looked to have played actually pretty well. Terrence Steele had his normal Terrence Steele game. There was some times where he was playing well. There was also some times where he gave up pressures. There was also some times where he missed run blocking assignments. So, kind of an up and down game for Terrence Steele. And then also there was a couple times there where the ball hit the ground. I know Cooper Rush had to recover a fumble as well. So just generally a little bit of sloppy play there throughout the game. But that's what we kind of expect, right? The Cowboys are a 5-7 team. We're not talking about a team that's 8-3 or 9-2. So we know they're going to have some sloppy play, and we definitely saw that throughout the course of the game. As a matter of fact, if the Cowboys played the game a little more cleaner, a little more consistently, they could have won this game by even more. Like I said, the score is not indicative of how close the game was or how far apart the game was. The Cowboys pretty much had this game in hand. I feel like from halfway through the second quarter on, it didn't look like the Giants were ready to play. It doesn't look like they quit, how some of these people have been saying on some of these shows throughout the course of the week, but it didn't look like they were talented enough to beat the Cowboys. I will say that. These guys are all pros. They can make plays. You know, they definitely came to play, but it just looks like there's still a talent gap, and the Giants need to figure out some things within their roster and within their front office. Malik Neighbors still look good, though. There was several plays where he got open. Cowboys got lucky. There were a couple plays that he dropped. There was a very crucial third down over the middle that hit him right in his hands, and he dropped the ball. Maybe he was thinking about, turning upfield before he caught it or whatever. But there were some plays where the Cowboys definitely got lucky. But on the same token, one of my other star downs is CeeDee Lamb. And it's not for the body language. CeeDee Lamb's fighting through plenty of injuries. He has the AC joint sprain, which is a very painful injury, a tough injury for a receiver, especially since you're going to get tackled on that several times. There was actually a time in the game where he, ran into the turf, came up pretty limp, went out of the game, came back in. You could see that he could hardly move his arm, but he still came back in and kind of tried to fight through it. But then when the Cowboys started kind of getting that lead and building that lead, when it was 27-10, they were like, no soup for you. You're out. And they kind of had CeeDee Lamb standing on the sideline. Even though there was no officially injured designation, they were kind of like, hey, man, we got 10 days. You already gave us a lot in this game, and we kind of want to hold you off and kind of let you get some rest. Because there was several plays in this game. There was at least 3 drops in this game that I could recall. And there was 2. There was one where he would have been wide open for a first down. There was one where he probably would have got cracked. And then there's one that he probably could have scored on. At least from what I saw, like I said, got to review the tape after the game. Maybe I'll get some of the game tape here in the next couple of days. And I'll be able to see if he was more open to take those plays to the house. But all in all, good one for the Cowboys. Excited for them, happy for them. I'm going to celebrate this win. Like I said, whoever's on Team Tank, I'm not with y'all. I want to see wins. I want to see competitiveness. I want to see the team. We've got a lot of young players, and it's hard to learn how to win in the NFL. And if there's anything you could take away from winning these games, even if your draft pick is not number 9 and it's number 13 instead, one of the things you can take away is you have some young players now who know how to finish. Some young players who know how to win in the NFL. And honestly, if we're going to build this team and be in this type of rebuilding mode for the next couple of years, we need to have some times that we teach our young players how to win, how to finish, how to fight, how to be a pro. And so it was nice to see the Cowboys pull out a win today, even if it wasn't necessarily their best game. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can follow me on Twitter at JMillerIYL. That's JMiller if you like. You can also hit me up on email. That's knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. Again, knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. You can also hit me at knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. You can leave comments below. If there's any questions or anything specific you want me to cover, I'll take them here. I'll take them via email. I'll take them on Twitter, put them into a mailbag, make it a formal segment. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button so you know when I'm coming on. We're at 29 subscribers, trying to get to 50 so that I can give away some Cowboys-centric merchandise. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys had a great time today, spending time with your family. If you're a person that's not spending time with your family or you don't have no family, I'm still here for you. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, I'm your host, J Mill if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.